Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Traveling Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today, I am in upstate New York going to talk to you about the Iroquois Confederacy at Thatcher Park, looking down above the old Iroquois Trail. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about the Iroquois Confederacy in relation to the United States Constitution. You see, many people tend to think that the United States Constitution gets pretty much all of its ideas from the Enlightenment era. And while it's true, we definitely do get some of our ideas from the Enlightenment era, what many people don't realize is that we borrowed a lot of governing policies and ideas and philosophies from the Iroquois Confederacy, right? The Guy and Ashogoa, or the people of the Longhouse. I'm sure I mispronounced that, but the people of the Longhouse is another name for the Iroquois Confederacy. So who were these guys? All right, there was multiple Indian tribes that there were the Mohawk, the Oneida, the Onondaga, the Cayuga, the Seneca, and later the Tuscarora. I'm sure I mispronounced some of those names as well, but those are the tribes that were part of the Iroquois Confederacy. Now, there was a thing happening here in 1744. There was the Lancaster Treaty. Benjamin Franklin happened to be there, and from this, the idea of the Iroquois Confederacy being much stronger than the tribes alone kind of rubbing off on Benjamin Franklin. And it was like, listen, the colonies of the United States, the colonies, I should say, of North America, they have to unite, all right? Some people say that in the Lancaster Treaty that the Native Americans were pretty much telling the colonists to unite against the English, right? But they don't do it, sadly, right? And there's another thing that you're going to have going on here. It's called the influence thesis. And this comes, again, from the Iroquois Confederacy. And basically what it is, it's sort of like a blueprint to American federalism way before American federalism. And that comes from the Iroquois Confederacy right here, all right? So now, what's Benjamin Franklin doing? Well, he's supposed to be like a diplomat, supposed to be sitting in on and trying to work out some grievances between the colonists and the Iroquois Confederacy. But what he takes away from there is a whole new idea of government, a government system, a federal system, unite. He comes up with that first political cartoon, to the Unite or Die. He takes us away from there. The only thing is the colonists aren't quite ready to accept it, okay? Now, today our federal system, it's our states and our central government. There's the Iroquois Confederacy way, way, way back before ours, right? Basically, each nation kept its own local leadership, right? But the major decisions were made together. So that's sort of like our federal government, right? Many, many, many years before we were able to put that together, right? Their representatives met in councils to reach a consensus before things were done. And then, of course, you got the Great Law of Peace. The Great Law of Peace, basically, it's a governance structure. It's like an oral constitution. Again, they have all this. The Iroquois Confederacy has all this way, way before we do. And something else they're going to have at least 130 years before we do is equal rights to their women. Their women had a lot of power in the Iroquois Confederacy, right? Their women could, nominate, oversee, and, fire, the chiefs. None of that's happening with the colonists in the United States. Not for a long, long time are our women going to get the rights that the Iroquois Confederacy women had. See, and what we did in the U.S. was basically we took some of the Iroquois Confederacy's ideas and we took some of the European social structure. It's one of the reasons why our women are not going to have rights for another 130 years, right? But what we need to understand is that not everything came from the European Enlightenment, right? Cooperation and democracy has been around for a long, long time. And ideas have come from everywhere, including, obviously, the Iroquois Confederacy. I mean, heck, if you really think about it, look at the pirates. The pirates had cooperation and democracy principles in their unionship and their leadership, okay? So, when I do these shows of Traveling Time with Dan, I like to mix travel with history and with leadership, of course. I would say if you have not been here, you are going to want to travel down here and check this out at Thatcher Park in upstate New York. It's absolutely breathtaking. I've already shared a little bit of history with you. So what's the leadership? Leadership principle here is unity without uniformity, right? Systems where different voices can still move in the same direction. That's what the Iroquois Confederacy taught us. When everybody doesn't have to have the same idea and the same voice, but as long as we're all contributing and moving forward in a similar direction, we can make it work. And there's no reason why we can't. All right, everybody, thank you for spending time with me today with the Travel and Time with Dan show, where we mix travel with history and with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. And I will be back real soon with another cool episode somewhere else real soon. Take care now.